So for any of my longtime viewers, you all know that I dislike both Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump very, very much, and I talk negatively about them most of the time. If you go through the playlist that I have on my channel, if you look at the Hillary Clinton and the Donald Trump playlist, you'll see that overwhelmingly the coverage that I have of them is negative, although there are some rare occasions where I actually do give them credit where I think credit is due. Now, as my channel grows, I'm realizing that my audience is really diverse. I have some Hillary Clinton supporters who subscribe because I am a liberal. I talk about gay rights and whatnot. And also, I have a lot of conservative Trump voters who subscribe because I talk negatively about Hillary Clinton. Now, with that being said, I'm not voting for either of them. I will be voting for Jill Stein. And as a YouTube host, I don't think that it's my job to tell you who to vote for or talk down to you like you're a child. I think that I should objectively present the facts to you and let you make your own decision. But because I think I'm in a good place to be overly objective, because I do dislike both candidates equally, as a liberal, I think that I really want to talk about how both of them are dangerous. Now, I've said before that I think Donald Trump is dangerous, and I also think that Hillary Clinton is dangerous, albeit to a lesser extent. I try to refrain from saying that because when you do that, you omit the nuance. I don't want to suggest that Hillary Clinton is not dangerous, because even though Donald Trump says a lot of really scary things, Hillary Clinton does a lot of scary things. And the problem is that, out of sight, out of mind, the things that Hillary Clinton does, it's, her war hawkish policies that we don't have to see. It's, out of sight, out of mind, like I said. But with Donald Trump, we'd see the discrimination and the bigotry. But, just because we're not seeing it doesn't mean it's not happening. So Hillary Clinton's war hawkish policies makes her very dangerous as well. But at the same time, I want to go issue by issue and talk about why I feel both candidates are dangerous and just bad candidates overall. So when it comes to trade, so I would give Hillary Clinton a D, and I would give Donald Trump a C+. Now, the reason is because Hillary Clinton has supported literally every disastrous trade deal, and even though she came out against the TPP, which is the only reason why I wouldn't give her an F, well, the State Department is literally blocking TPP-related emails from being released until after the election, which gives us a clue that most likely she actually really does like the TPP, and maybe she said something like, well, during the election, I'm going to say I'm against it, but when it's all said and done, I will codify it into law. Who knows? But because of her rhetoric, she gets a D instead of an F. Now, Donald Trump only gets a C+, because he is against these trade deals. However, as a businessman, he's taken advantage of these trade deals time and again. His ties are manufactured in China. And so if you're going to talk the talk, I want you to walk the walk. So he would get an A if he actually took a principled stand and say, you know what, my business will not be manufacturing ties in China. We will not take advantage of NAFTA and manufacture our products in Mexico. I will actually be principled and manufacture our products here in America. There's nothing wrong with protectionist economic policies, but I want you to be consistent. So that's why he doesn't get an A. He gets a C+, because he has benefited from these deals, and I have no reason to believe that he won't get in office and pursue the same types of deals that will screw over the American people, ship our jobs overseas, all because it will benefit him and set him up when he gets out. So overall, when it comes to the issue of trade, Donald Trump is better than Hillary Clinton on trade, but I do not believe that he won't pursue deals like NAFTA, like the TPP, because he's a billionaire. Now, when it comes to social issues, Hillary Clinton gets a B-, Donald Trump gets an F. Now, there's no doubt that Hillary Clinton is better on social issues, but she doesn't get an A. So when it comes to LGBT rights, in spite of her rhetoric, she's actually harmed the LGBT community. When she was First Lady, she fought and lobbied for DOMA and Don't Ask, Don't Tell, which banned LGBT marriage at the federal level and prohibited LGBT people from serving openly in the military. And she was one of the last people to come around to gay rights, and she's trying to rewrite history and pretend as though she actually cares about gay people, when in actuality, we know she doesn't really care about gay people. She's just pandering and paying us lip service. So even though she is better than Trump on that issue, she's not great. Now, she is in favor of abortion, and she isn't bigoted towards minorities and Muslims. Her policies, though, harm minorities and Muslims abroad. So when you commit war crimes and you vote for illegal wars, that hurts Muslims in Iraq, in Syria, in Afghanistan. And when you support bills, when you were First Lady, that lead to mass incarceration that disproportionately impact Latinos and African Americans, That's bad. So even though you're good when it comes to rhetoric, we know you're not perfect, which is why she doesn't get an A. Now, most importantly, the reason why she gets a B+ is because her Supreme Court picks would presumably support social causes. So I don't think that she would put anyone up that would repeal marriage equality. Now, when it comes to Donald Trump, he is in favor of allowing transgender people to use the bathroom of their choice, but he did say he would appoint Supreme Court justices who would overturn marriage equality. That's not acceptable, and yet he's claiming to be an LGBT ally too. I find that laughable. Furthermore, he is brazenly racist, and he has a history of racism. In the 1970s, he refused to rent to African Americans and was sued because of it. Furthermore, he called all Mexicans rapists. He wants to ban Muslims from entering and exiting the country. He's just a bigot. He also retweets white supremacist propaganda on Twitter. And look, he's ginning up fear against Muslims and uses minorities as scapegoats. The list goes on. Donald Trump is horrible on social issues, and because of this, I think that this divisive rhetoric he uses would divide the country, so that's why he gets an F. Hillary Clinton is not perfect on social issues, but she is better than Donald Trump on this one particular issue. Now, when it comes to immigration, Hillary Clinton gets a C-, Donald Trump gets an F. Now, Hillary Clinton was previously in favor of building a wall. She doesn't want to allow Central American immigrant children who are refugees from coming into the country. And that's bad. That's why she can't get full credit, because even though she supports immigration reform and she says she'll actually put forth immigration reform in her first 100 days as president, I don't believe her. Obama was espousing the same type of rhetoric before he got into office, and he ended up deporting more undocumented immigrants than George Bush. You know, that's Obama's legacy, but I would not be surprised if Hillary Clinton did the same thing, so I don't believe her. And when it comes to Trump, well, I'm a progressive, and he wants to deport all 11 million undocumented immigrants. That's not something I'm in favor of, so to me, he gets an F. I'm in favor of giving them citizenship, not a path to citizenship. I think if you've been in the country for a certain amount of years, you work, you pay your taxes, you're a citizen today. It's over. You're a citizen. You can vote, everything. No limited pseudo-citizenship where you can work here and stay here, but you can't vote. None of that. You're a full citizen if you are contributing to our society. And of course, we do reform so that way if you actually want to move here legally, it's easier for you to migrate here. It's not just impossible and ridiculous, so that way you have an incentive to cross the border illegally. So, economic issues. I give Hillary Clinton a C and Donald Trump an F. Now, Clinton implied that she would give, quote, incentives to companies that treat workers fairly, i.e. tax breaks, which is, of course, a Republican plan. She was also on the board of Walmart, and I don't trust that she's not going to get into the office and give away large tax breaks to billionaires and the elite class. Now, furthermore, Donald Trump's tax plan is just a straight-up giveaway to the rich. So even though Hillary Clinton isn't admitting that she's going to do it, Donald Trump doesn't even hide it. His tax plan is a giveaway to the rich. She at least wants to raise the minimum wage. Even though it's only to $12 an hour, Donald Trump actually said that the wages are too high and wouldn't raise the minimum wage. Okay, you're not the best on this issue. On the issue of net neutrality, I give Hillary Clinton a C- and Donald Trump an F. So Hillary Clinton allegedly supports net neutrality, but her biggest donors are Time Warner, Comcast, and these are companies who have a vested interest in preventing the net from remaining neutral. They want monopolies to create fast lanes, so because of her donors, I can't trust her that she's actually going to pursue policies that would keep our internet free and open. But Donald Trump, he's outright against net neutrality. He said that Obama's new FCC rules constituted a government takeover. Okay, ridiculous. When it comes to foreign policy, I give both Hillary and Trump an F. Now, that may be surprising because Donald Trump hasn't voted for any wars or anything, and I'll tell you why, and you can disagree with that, but this is my reasoning. So, Hillary Clinton, she gets an F because she literally has not found a war she doesn't disagree with. I mean, she voted for the Iraq War. She wants a Syrian no-fly zone. She pushed Obama to intervene in Libya. She wants to overthrow Assad. She wants to ramp up attacks on ISIS. She is a neoconservative through and through, and her policies, her war hawkish policies, have led to the deaths of many, many citizens. They've led to the deaths of citizens in numerous countries, and that's wrong. But with that being said, Donald Trump literally said he would target civilians. He would target the families of ISIS. That is completely unacceptable. He said the Geneva Conventions were a problem. Again, not acceptable. I would never vote for someone who says that. Furthermore, he said he would do nothing about nuclear proliferation. So he would allow our allies like Saudi Arabia and Japan to build nuclear weapons, and he wouldn't try to impose sanctions on them or tell them not to do that. I'm a non-interventionist and a pacifist, but if somebody's going to build nuclear weapons, you can bet your ass I'm going to speak out against it if I was the president. And he doesn't want to do that. And the most scary thing about Donald Trump is that he said he would not take using nuclear weapons off the table to defeat ISIS. Okay, that's just, you're never going to get my vote because of that, ever. So even though it's the case that he never voted for any of these wars, by saying you would consider using nuclear weapons, you're just not viable. You're not viable at all. And the media has not covered this. Now, furthermore, he claims to be against the Iraq War, but he only came out against it shortly after he was in favor of it on the Howard Stern show. He said that he supported the Iraq War, or alluded to his support for the Iraq War. You can disagree with that, but he's a liar. I don't believe him. Now, when it comes to corruption and transparency, I give Hillary Clinton an F and Donald Trump a D+. So Hillary Clinton gets an F because she's taken money from basically every special interest in existence. She's changed positions on policies like universal healthcare after taking money from the health insurance industry. She has given weapons deals to foreign donors of the Clinton Foundation. We have evidence of overt corruption, quid pro quos. She's just corrupt. There's no way around it. We can't sugarcoat it. We can't say it seems like she's corrupt. We can just come out and say it directly. Hillary Clinton is corrupt, one of the most corrupt politicians in the country. She also won't release her transcripts. But the reason why Trump gets a D+ is because he refuses to release his tax returns. Now, he's also now taking money from billionaire donors such as Sheldon Adelson. He's going to meet with the Koch brothers to beg for money. So he rails against money in politics, but he would be a puppet just like everyone else. And the fact that he's allowing Sheldon Adelson to bankroll his presidential campaign, that is corruption. We should not allow elites to buy our politicians and buy these elections. So he's corrupt too. He may be less corrupt than Hillary Clinton, but make no mistake about it, he's still corrupt. He's also a con artist. So he's being sued over Trump University for good reason. It's a for-profit university that just rips people off. So he's a slimy businessman. So he's also corrupt. They're both bad on this. Now, when it comes to the media, Hillary Clinton gets an F, and Donald Trump also gets an F. So Hillary Clinton's donors are the parent companies of mainstream media outlets. They do propaganda for her, and that's not okay. You're supposed to hold public officials accountable, not collude with them, and that's what's happening. Also, we have Clinton campaign operatives pretending. They go on these CNN shows and MSNBC shows, and they pretend to be neutral Democratic strategists, and they praise Hillary Clinton, say she's running a wonderful campaign, and then they throw Bernie Sanders under the bus. And come to find out, people like Stephanie Cutter, who has done this, well, Precision Strategies, her company, is literally on the Clinton payroll. Now, when it comes to Donald Trump, he's literally threatened to bring back libel laws so he can sue people who talk smack about him. He is suing Bill Maher for making fun of him. He has banned many media outlets, such as the Washington Post and the Daily Beast. And look, these are just pseudo-journalism outlets. They're not great, but to ban them, that shows that you are not going to play ball with the media. And being president means you have to be transparent and be accountable, and you have to allow the media to hold you accountable. That's why we have the First Amendment allowing for a free media. So if he's not going to do that and not allow the media to perform freely, that's horrible. You get an F. And furthermore, just me personally, look, as I gain more notoriety on YouTube, I get worried about, the waves that I make. Do I worry that Hillary Clinton will try to shut me down? No way. I've talked so much shit about Hillary Clinton, and I haven't been, messaged by her campaign telling me to cut it out and whatnot. No threats. But with Donald Trump, I'm legitimately worried that he would try to sue me because I talk shit about him. I shouldn't have to worry about this in a democracy. You know what? I might actually bump up Hillary Clinton's score because of that. So probably a D- for Hillary Clinton and an F for Donald Trump. Now, getting to climate change, I give Hillary Clinton a C and Donald Trump an F. So the positive is that Hillary Clinton does at least believe in climate change. However, she supports fracking, which contributes to climate change. She's taking money from the fossil fuel industry. They're lobbyists that are bundling their contributions to her super PACs, and she's lying about it. So because of her donors, I have no reason to believe she's actually going to do anything. She's put forth no real plan to combat climate change. So she gets a C because I don't believe her, but that whole grade is based on her just saying climate change is real. Trump gets an F because he literally believes climate change is a hoax invented by the Chinese. That's the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard in my life. Now, overall, when it comes to authenticity, these are just side notes. I'm not going to give them scores for this because this is less substantive. Well, I believe that Trump actually says what's on his mind. I don't believe anything Hillary Clinton says. So I'd give Trump a plus right there, because even though he says stupid things, he's actually speaking in his mind. Hillary Clinton, she won't speak about a political issue unless it's gone through focus groups, unless, she looks at the polls. And I think that that's so disingenuous. I dislike that so much. That's why so many people dislike fake politicians. So he gets some plus points for authenticity. Now, overall, Hillary Clinton would get about a D average, maybe a D plus average. Trump would get an F average because he has so many Fs. So the conclusion is that these are both terrible candidates. These are both candidates that would be dangerous for the country. So yes, even though it's the case that Hillary Clinton would be dangerous to a lesser extent, overall, you really have to dive in and look at the details and see where these two candidates differ. There's not too much difference between them. And this is shocking because she's potentially the nominee of the Democratic Party. She's their presumptive nominee, and Donald Trump is a maniac. But if you really look at her past policies, she's dangerous. They're both dangerous. Now, thankfully, you have more options. You have Jill Stein and Gary Johnson. You don't have to vote for them, and I'm not going to tell you who to vote for. But if you agree with me that these two people are very dangerous, there are other options, and you don't have to vote for them. I get, the strategy. If you're voting for Hillary Clinton in a swing state, or if you're voting for Donald Trump just to protest against Hillary Clinton, whatever you want to do, that's fine. But just know that, these are both dangerous candidates. And I know that some liberals may disagree with what I'm saying, because they'll say, look, Hillary Clinton is going to be basically like a third term of Obama. I disagree with that. I think she's way more conservative than Obama, and I already think Obama is conservative. He's a centrist to center-right politician. Hillary Clinton is just right-wing. If you look at her political compass scores, she's in the right-wing authoritarian quadrant, and she's not too far off from Donald Trump. And that shows when you look at her policies. So look, if I had to give Jill Stein and Gary Johnson scores, I'd give Jill Stein an A, and I would give Gary Johnson a B+, because I probably agree more with Gary Johnson than I do with Hillary Clinton, and he's a libertarian. I very much disagree with libertarians and the libertarian philosophy, but at least he is not in favor of these wars that are just so destructive, that diminish our image overseas and, internationally. So look, the conclusion is that both Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump are both dangerous. And when I say Hillary Clinton is a little bit less dangerous than Trump, this is what I mean by it. When you look at different issues, she is better than him on some issues, but there's nuance. He's better than her on certain issues, but when they're better than each other, they're not great. So, in the end, they're both terrible candidates, both very dangerous. That's my opinion. You guys are more than welcome to disagree with this, but this is just my take as a progressive. I'm pretty far left. I'd consider myself a social democrat, and look, that's my take.